Hello, I'm James Henry, and this is our weekly sacred reading time. If you've been following along, we've been reading our way a few verses at a time through 1 John, which is a letter in the New Testament to the general church. It is an opportunity when we do sacred reading to enact what we believe to be true. That is, that Spirit is speaking into our lives, into this world. Every moment that we can encounter Spirit speaking to us if we listen closely to what it has to say. Sacred reading, unlike more of a deep Bible study, is not so much about getting at what the author originally might have been intending when they wrote the text. Instead, it's an opportunity to listen for the echoes of what Spirit may be speaking through the exact same text even now. What might the text say to us in these moments? As we join together in this weekly opportunity, I always read the text only once aloud and invite a moment of reflection. You can at that point turn off the recording and go to your own interpretation, what you heard the text say. It might be a word, it might be a phrase, it might be an image, and how the Spirit might be speaking to you. Now, after that moment of pause, I will, I guess, as a sort of way of embodying the example of what it is to do sacred reading, I will say what I heard in the text, what spoke to me, what called out to me about the text. I do believe Spirit speaks into our lives. I believe it's worth spending time with sacred texts to hear what they say and what they may say to us right now. And as we learn to listen right now, perhaps we learn to listen at all times. So I invite you now, bring yourself into this moment, let go of anything else that may be on your mind, that you may be holding at this moment, so that perhaps this will speak to you in a fresh and new way. I'll be reading again, 1 John chapter 4, and we're looking today, or listening today, to verses 4 through 6. Listen with me now for Spirit to speak. Much loved children, you have been born of Creator and have won the victory over false prophets. For the Spirit in you is much greater than the spirit in the world. These false prophets are of this world, so they speak the way the world speaks, and the world listens. We are of the Great Spirit, and those who know the Great Spirit listen to us. The ones who are not of the Great Spirit do not listen to us. This is how we can tell the spirit that is true from the spirit that is false. For me, as I listen to the text, it was a single word or even a phrase maybe. And the word was a preposition of all things, of the world. The false voices, the false speakers are of the world. Those false speakers, by the pattern, the cultural patterns, the accepted norms of society, and buy into that system and speak about and from a place of that system. They are of the world and the world's systems, as opposed to being of the Spirit or from the Spirit. That becomes the measuring place between the two. The measuring place is an invitation for us to see, as we listen, to kind of discern the difference between what the patterns of the world are, the patterns that perhaps for me, as I thought about the patterns of the world, the ones that rose to me were being measured by success or appearance, even by performance, being measured in ways that are not anything other than love. That's what rose for me in the moment. Now, I am quick sometimes to measure by the culture in which I was raised, by the norms that seem normal to me. But I think the writer of 1 John wants us to hear a deeper truth, and that is that when Spirit is speaking, it's at a deeper level, at a different level. It doesn't embrace and pat culture on the back. It's not of the world. And instead, it speaks of something that is counter-normal, counter-cultural, outside of the norms. To love instead of hate, to forgive instead of to bear a grudge, to give up power rather than to hold on to or cling to it. When I hear those words of the world, I'm appreciative of the affirmation that comes, which is, greater is the Spirit that is in me than the one that is in the world. And that Spirit that I am meant to follow, the Spirit of love, of preciousness, of recognizing the gift that everyone is. Now that is not of this world, but it is of the kingdom of God. And it's what I'm meant to live into. So that's what I heard in the text. That's what was what arose in me as I heard the text. I encourage you to do Lectio Divina on your own if you want. In fact, I encourage you to do it even if you don't want sometimes, to pick a sacred text to you and to read it in short bursts, read it aloud, let your ears hear it, and let it speak into you. Read it 3 times aloud, not just the one time I read it to you, like I read it to you, but 3 times aloud. Each time listening and seeing if what you heard the first time confirms or pings with what you heard the second, and then the third, or if something else rises. And then you kind of balance it out as you brought to it. What did I need to hear today? Was it encouragement? Was it a word that calls me out, asks me to come to accountability, or something else altogether? Whatever it is, Spirit speaks today, now, in the moment you're in. It may be through a sacred text. It may be through nature. It may be through the kind words of a friend. It could be any number of ways that you might hear the echo of Spirit in your life. But listen as you did today. And until the next time we do sacred reading together, I wish you all the best.